Good morning. It is such a joy to be here. I'm Reverend Karen Lewis. I'm the senior minister here at the New Vision Center, and it's sometimes overwhelming how very, very blessed we are to experience such freedom to come together here to celebrate life with one another, to deepen into that which we call sweet spirit God, divine intelligence, infinite love, peace, harmony, that which is greater than we are and which we simply cannot name. A couple of weeks ago, when we saw on the schedule that today was the trifecta of ministers here, right? Reverend Jeff hosting and Reverend Leslie singing, and I'm speaking. Reverend Leslie and I came together, and she asked me, so what are your plans for that Sunday? Now, this is a couple weeks ago, so you know what my plans were. We're having a party the night before. I don't know yet. But we looked towards our annual theme, and this is why I love that as a community, we take the time to come together every year to fill out the survey that informs us what the community wants to deepen into, and then we create an annual theme. And as you know, our annual theme is, it's right there, the seeds of love. And we have done such a beautiful job throughout the year to walk with those seeds, right? To prepare the soil around them, to become clear of what is the seed that I am called to place into the ground for it to grow. And right now, today, actually, we're starting our third big grouping season. Thank you. I love group participation. Thank you. Our third season, which is nurturing. Nurturing, because we all understand in nature, in the gardens that we are starting, we all understand that we need to nurture what we have put into the ground. Not just the soil around it, but we have to nurture the seed. And so Reverend Leslie asked me, what is it that you want to talk about? And all I could do was this, receive, that was my thing. So for the last couple of weeks, every time when we talk about the talk, this is what comes up for me. And the title that rose up was The Art of Nourishing. And I've been fighting with Spirit a little bit about this one. And today I finally surrendered. 5:30 this morning. I said, okay, clearly this is not working. And what I realized, what really wants to be talked about, experienced, shown light on, is the art of receiving nourishment. Because you see in our teaching, and I love that we are all amongst people who know each other here, because we didn't have anybody who is here for the first time today. So we all know this, right? The basis of our teaching is that the infinite is given. Grace of the divine is already given. We don't have to do anything for it. We don't have to hustle. We don't have to even pray for God or the divine to give us grace, because it's already has been given to each and every person. We have been given the grace of the divine. So then if it is not about praying or affirming to create this, it's really about receiving it. Receiving it. And so that is the conversation that I would love to have today. We have, as you know, we just started a new foundational class, and in this foundational class, that 28 beloveds are on this journey Yes, isn't that amazing? I am so grateful that for our technology, for that we are able to have it in person and online. It's just marvelous. So we are studying this wonderful book, this thing called You by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And right there in the beginning is this quote that I want to share from you. It's actually Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, every man, and we understand that to mean every human, every being, I. Every man is a doorway through which the infinite passes into the finite, through which God becomes man, through which the universal becomes individual. And so what does that really mean? Well, that means that there is an infinite good. Dr. Ernest Holmes says there's a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. And what do we do with that power? Well, we come to the universe and say, I want to create more peace, more freedom, more joy, more love, more something. Fill in what your desire is to create more of in the world and in your own life. And then we have to allow it to come through us, and we put our personal touch on it, our personal spin on it. We take this energy that is pure life force and we create it into the experiences, into the things that we offer to the world. And that, beloveds, is all that is happening here on planet Earth. That is our job. That is the entirety of our beingness here, as I believe, is to take that life force and bring it through us as us creating what we want to create in the world. Now, sometimes when we talk about these fundamental concepts, we can kind of, nod and say, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And it can remain a little bit on the surface because it is such a huge topic. And so today I really would like to dive deep with it. Because remember what Emerson says, we are the ones. I am the one in my life. Put your hand on your heart and say, I am the one in my life that takes the infinite and makes it finite. I am the one that takes all of the opportunity and bring it forth in exactly what I choose to bring forth. And yet, sometimes we walk through life, and doesn't it feel like we are a dartboard? That the challenges of life, fear, unhealed stuff just throws itself onto us. Have you ever had that experience? I remember 25 years ago, I had a month where I got rear-ended twice in 1 month. And my father-in-law at that time said to me, you might want to erase the target that you have on the back of your car. And I thought that was good advice. So here we are, minding our own business, per se, living our lives. And then something hits us. It might be personal. Or it might be more collective. What could it be on the personal level? A diagnosis, a divorce, something that is happening in our lives that is making us feel that the grace, that the allness of life that's always available is not available to me right now. I know we all have had those experiences where in general we believe this teaching. Yes, yes, there is a power for good in the universe. It's just not showing up right here in this area right now. For me, sometimes it feels like I go to the universe with my order, right? Okay, I am ready to experience more love in my life. And then I do this. Love. And that is usually how it looks when it comes out. It's not pretty, right? Why is that? For me, and I don't know, feel if this might be resonating with you, I do that white-knuckled grip of wanting something in my life when I have perhaps temporarily forgotten my connection with the divine. Forgotten that all I really have to do is to remember that I am a doorway, that the divine is right there, and it is up to me to open my heart. I love that song that Reverend Leslie chose. I am ready to receive. I am ready to open my heart to love. How do we do that? How do we do that? It seems a little easier when we come together on a Sunday morning or a Wednesday night, or even on a Saturday afternoon or evening, when we come together in spiritual community to remind each other of, oh yes, yes, the allness of life is right there. But how about on Tuesday mornings? How about when those unhealed wounds, when those stories that we are carrying around with us overwhelm us? So often when I sit down with beloveds, they start with, I don't feel it right now. How can we open the door, open the windows of our inner sanctuary to allow the flow of good in? When I think about that, what comes up for me is the story of the Sea of Galilee. You might know there are two big bodies of water in Israel. One is the Sea of Galilee, and the other one is the Dead Sea. Now, what's interesting is that both of those bodies of water are being supplied with fresh water by the River Jordan. It's exactly the same source of good that comes. Now, in the Sea of Galilee, it is a beautiful landscape. The sea itself is filled with fish. It is alive. As opposed to the Dead Sea, which is, just as the name suggests, dead. Nothing can live in that high content of salt. As a matter of fact, sometimes when a fish accidentally makes its way into it, it dies within a couple of hours because the salt content is just so high. So how is it that there is one source of good showing up in so different ways? And let's make it a little bit more personal. How is it that we are all one in the one? All of us have access to the power that is greater than us, and yet some lives are more alive than others. Well, for the Sea of Galilee, the answer is in opening and giving back. So this River Jordan comes into the Sea of Galilee, and then it flows out. We're in the Dead Sea. The water comes in, and there's no outlet. The water just evaporates. Now, how can we learn from that? For me, it means that here we are. We have been given this incredible gift of life itself. We have been given this life force. And it is up to us individually to figure out for ourselves, how do I give back to life? How do I offer gifts back? For I have been so incredibly blessed. And how might that look? About as many ways as people are here in the sanctuary online, as people have ever heard about this teaching, as people are in the world. Because how you give your gift is so very, very different than how I give my gift. And isn't that the beauty? Isn't that the beauty? Regardless of how we decide to share our gifts, I believe that it is all about clearing out any limitations, any false beliefs, any ideas of I am not enough or there's not enough, and let go of all of that so that we can be an open conduit for that life force to flow through us and to give it out in the world. And I love that I can see so many people stepping into that flow even more clearly. And as an organization, isn't that what we do here as a New Vision Center? This idea in the mind and heart of the divine that has been in existence for over 30 years, when we say we are revealing the power of love, that is exactly what we're doing. As an organization, we are saying, yes, there's an infinite supply of love in the world, and we are a conduit through which it flows out into the world. And then it shows up as blessing those beloved girls that have had horrific experiences. Creating workshops that help us heal whatever experiences we had in our lives. The work of this center helps us to identify what is in the world that is not revealing the power of love and what is mine to do to change it. It is here where we are introduced to those tools that help us to become all that we were meant to be. I think I want to close with the final slide that we have. It's by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And he says, "The secret of spiritual power is a consciousness of one's union with the whole and the availability of good." The availability of good. I think we have to ask ourselves, do I believe that? Do I believe that there is an infinite availability of good? Many of us have had experiences where, without a shadow of a doubt, we knew that the divine was right where we are, right? Where we felt the allness of life, where we were so part of that infinite, that it just naturally came through us. But how can we anchor into it more when that natural flow is not there? What I came up with for this week, and I offer this for all of us to lean into, is focused surrender. Focused surrender. And here's what I mean by that. Perhaps for this week, allowing those stories that are alive with us, within us, those places where we are hurting, to lay them down. Find a place, a person, an activity that helps you. When I say find a place, it might be in nature. Because nature is always willing to help us lay down what doesn't serve us anymore. I believe we have that wonderful quote with a tree that has a lot of meaning for me. And Dr. Ernest Holmes says, we can commune with nature in her visible form, and that is why a tree can speak to us, which it most certainly can if we would develop the ability to listen. So as we practice focused surrender, find a place where you can practice listening in nature. Find your tree. Find your body of water. Find your plant. Find some alive place and practice listening. As we practice focused surrender, find a person, a practitioner, a community member, a minister, somebody that you feel you can let go, you can trust completely. And surrender the pain that is within. So this week, let us practice focused surrender so that we can be an unencumbered vessel, the good of the divine to flow through us, to bring forth the gifts that we came here to give, to be those lights in the darkness for one another. I am so grateful we are on this journey together. Thank you. And with that, let us pray. Let us use this wonderful tool that Dr. Ernest Holmes has brought forth to us, a spiritual mind treatment. So if you are a practitioner in training, a minister here in the sanctuary or online, I invite you to rise up and signal to the universe, we are ready to receive. As we take a breath and recognize the allness of life. Sweet Spirit, infinite good. We step into this feeling tone and recognize, Sweet Spirit, within us as love, as peace, as harmony, as joy, as freedom, as the ability to be and to let go of anything that hinders that beingness. We are just allowing the gratitude and the incredible lightness of being to rise up from deep within. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this recognition. Thank you for knowing that God and I are truly one eternally. Thank you for the deep knowingness that there is nothing that is missing, and that it is safe to open our hearts and receive this nourishment as we know the divine even more. And so it is with a heart full of gratitude and thankfulness for all the good that is present, that I simply place this word into universal law. I call it good, I call it done. I know it is already so. And together we know this truth as we say, and so it is.